believe we are live. So I'll say, indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. I spent a few moments in tension as I was trying to get ready for today's stream because I couldn't find myself a place where I was comfortable. The place I usually do it with the bricks is an oven. It is like going on 95, 98 Fahrenheit today. It is hot. But we showed up regardless. Did I say indeed and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends? If I didn't, I've said it again. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Today's stream topic is about tension. About tension. I find myself tense a lot. And it's good to release that tension every now and then. I practice yoga as a part of my attempt to try and release this tension. And today, specifically, while I was on my yoga mat, I noticed that there was less. There was less tension in my physical form. There is a little birdie who has a nest right there, who's probably feeling a bunch of tension right now with me sitting here. I'm sorry, Burby. Maybe they'll fly past us. If they do, I hope to capture. Will I be able to? Probably not. Probably not easily, at the very least. I don't hear any babies just yet, so I don't think there are any. But it is very much summer, slash technically spring. It's supposed to be spring. So they might have some eggs laid. I kind of want to check. You want to see what this little Burby nest looks like? I'll try and not disturb the nest. Sir tense a lot. Me too, bro. Right? I get very tense as well. That's the thing. See if that Burby is around this corner. Where you at, Burby? This is where that Burby's nest is. This is all of the stuff that Tani Charlene couldn't fit inside the house. My neighbors just came in. As you can see, Burby made themselves a nest. If I lift this up. Oh, there are eggs in there! There actually are eggs in there. Oh, that's cute. I'll put this little roof over them again. Isn't that wholesome? There's little baby Burbies being hatched in our garage. I find that very cute. Last time I checked, there were no eggs. And now there are. Why are we tense today? No, today's stream topic is about not being tense. Actually, it's about relieving that tension that we might end up feeling. I got a bunch of work done today. Some long form content, 7 pieces of short form content. So that was again something that had like a little bit of tension in me. And now I don't have to worry about that either. I have some psychedelic from Dank Panda in here that I'm going to partake of. It's called psychedelic. It smells fruity and it tastes like cereal. It's very strange, very psychedelic, to say it in so many words. That's some quality stupid dove nest material. It's not a dove. It's not a dove. I don't know exactly what species that is, but they make like little squawk squawk sounds. At least it is super hot, so I'm not worried about the babies cooling down too much. I didn't know they were eggs. Now I'm thinking about those eggs. They're blue. They're blue little eggies as well. Isn't that cute? There's this one yoga pose where you and you hook your own arms around your shins. Use the word terminology bowl. But today specifically, I was thinking about the terminology of egg. I still used the word bowl in my practice, but I thought egg. And now getting to loop back with that whole egg experience, thinking about these little ones, that there are entities, right? Potentially little heartbeats in those little eggs right now. Today's stream topic is about tension as well. And when I came out here, that little Burby flew out, made a little bit of a ruckus, and must have felt pretty tense with this being in their space. I hope she comes back. That's the thing that I'm worried about. I'm so scared that I scared her away or something. Love is true. I'm adding some heat to my Dynavap. Going to experience what the psychedelic has to say. Click. Yeah, no, checks out. Kind of like cereal. Cereal, and now specifically, but this might also be kind of placebo, like whey protein. I had this specific flavor of whey protein at some point that was like caramel popcorn flavored. This is like caramel popcorn flavored whey protein put over cereal. That's what this tastes like to me. It's nice. I do like it. Let's try the second cycle. Should be a little bit different as well. Second one was almost just caramel flavored whey protein. Like I'm getting so much caramel on this one. Nice. That'll do it. That'll do it. Ah, now I can settle down. See if I can find myself a space of calm. And then think about what causes me tension. Actually, not having as much money as I would like causes me tension. And it's silly how that tension manifests. Because technically, if I was paying only for my own food, I have enough money right now. Right? But that's not always the case, because it's not always capital to feed everybody in the house. So in that way, earning more capital would allow me to not have to worry about such things. But, and this is where the but comes in, I feel if there was no tension in me, in wanting other things, there would be no tension in spending all of my money, right? Where there has been this thing lodged in my brain, and it's been lodged in my brain for a very long time. The Burby is back, right? Very, very long time, and it's the want for an electric vehicle, and maybe I'll get myself the EUC in the short term. I'll show you where the Burby is. That little Burby right there. standing on that wall staring at me. That's the Burby whose eggs it is. Your eggs are fine, sweet little girl. Your eggs are so fine. You can come fly past me. I won't even flinch. You can come right in. So, right, back to the tension. Back to the tension that is caused by finances and electric vehicles, right? Because there is this number, this magic number in my head of like, if I earned this much money a month, then I would be able to qualify for a loan, and then I would be able to drive this vehicle, right? That would be technically cheaper to run, and if I would go so far, would from my moment of purchase be run from the sun, right? So I have it in my mind. I have a certain tension in my mind that doesn't allow me to acknowledge that I have more than enough. If I don't acknowledge that I have more than enough, right? And I feel like I'm trying to roll it back. And the way that I did that is by giving myself a date to be tense about instead of a thing to be tense about, right? Where the thing I was tense about is not having enough finances to afford things like an electric vehicle. And again, the electric vehicle thing is very much from this perspective of like running costs and then harm to the planet, right? Surely buying a new vehicle will probably cause more harm to the planet than driving this existing vehicle. But spending my money combusting fuel doesn't feel great every single day. I don't like it, right? So there's that like psychological kernel lodged in my brain. And then I'm kind of like faced with this tension, right? Day in, day out, and I'm like noticing it. And I understand that the nature of this tension I'm experiencing is, I want to say immature. Is it immature? Maybe naive. Maybe naive is the better word, right? There's a certain level of naivete to what I think I'm tense about, right? And it is technically a tension of, I want to be able to do things, right? I want to have the freedom to do things. And then that tension manifests as one thing that I cannot do right now. And then as a result of that, tries to convince me that I'm somehow failing at this objective. That is doing what I want to do, right? Helping the planet in my own way. You know, trying to reduce the amount of harm I do, both to myself, to my environment, and to the people that I'm going to be around with. And then I find out, basically, right? I spend the time to research. And in this state of tension, I find out when South Africa has like policy changes coming up for us, when things will change, when it comes to our rules, when it comes to what we believe is supposed to be about this new technology. And it seems that in the year 2026, March of 2026, there is like a bunch of new rules coming into effect that will make EV ownership cheaper. By that time, EV adoption rate would be higher. By that time, EV charging infrastructure will be more dense. By that time, the EVs would have increased in price efficiency, I trust, and range, which is a big factor for me. Even though I don't drive that far, technically, if I wanted to, I would want to be able to, right? And then there is, I did talk about cost efficiency, but just like maybe even local manufacturing, which would also be a cool thing for our country and could also drive prices lower. The technology itself, the maturation of battery technology over the next 2 years could be something worth waiting for as well. And in that way, what am I trying to say? Right? What am I trying to say? I think you as a human being will be faced with tensions, many of them self-created. And in that way, you as a human being can create relief to your self-created tensions, right? And I just noticed it in this way for me, that one way that I found relief isn't so much with solving my problem, but was with giving myself a later date to solve said problem, right? A postponing of the problem, a reframing of the problem, maybe, if anything. We will experience tensions as humans, but we're experiencing our own more so than ever. And that is obviously a very biased perspective from mine. There are people right now who are experiencing things that are not of their own choosing, that would want for things to be differently because other people are making choices that they do not have any control over. And in that way, I hope, right, I believe, in fact, that this energy revolution that's happening right now is going to do so much for our species. Simply from this perspective of being able to generate our own energy. Each and every single one of us can become our own energy generator. As those energy generators, we can connect ourselves to community grids, right? And the things, the people, the decision making, the will of others that we used to be beholden to suddenly is quite literally exponentially reduced. Maybe that's why I'm so obsessive about it, right? Because a part of me feels that every single time I put fuel in a car, I am supporting the murder of my planet, right? I am supporting an industry that's going to do a lot to get this fuel where my car is. And sure, it's very energy dense, and we cannot replace all of our cars, by the snap of our fingers. And it would cost a significant amount of carbon to remake all of our vehicles, and it would cost a lot to extract all of the minerals that would be necessary for us to actually do that. But we're already doing that, you know. We've already done all of those things. I think in that way, maybe I'm really hopeful for extremely cool recycling tech and manufacturing technology as well. I had this whole, thing just sitting by myself and thinking about how the future of intellectual property can very much become association and branding, right? And that sounds probably bad when I just sum it up like that. But another way to explain it is like the internet and then intellectual property, design, a way of doing things. A brand, right, has like a front, a user interface, if you will. And then in this user interface is everything, quite literally everything, right? From your knife and fork to your automobile. And you can download then that brand's IPs, intellectual properties, design work, and you can apply that to your world. Right? That's the future I'm looking forward to. But I find myself almost tense. Almost tense, I say. Not understanding why it's not here yet. Patience. Patience, Mel. I'll learn more patience still. Let me get back to the chat. Thank you for sitting through that with me. Going down some rabbit holes. I don't know where we are right now, but it's giving me mad Dr. Office vibes. Dr. Office? We are in the garage. The garage. The garage. We actually say garage in Afrikaans as well. I think there is an Afrikaans word for it, and it goes motorhuis. Mijn motorhuis, which directly translates to car house. My car house. It's not a garage, it's my car house. The house my car lives in. I was once told by a masseuse that I have the most tense body of anyone they ever worked on, and they wondered how it got to be like that. My answer was simply, I don't know. I don't know my life. I don't know my life. I'm guessing that was probably the way to say it. Today, I'm taking Duckling and her preteen friend to the zoo solo. Pray for me. Good luck, bro. Have fun. Love is true. You got this. What's the difference between tension and anxiety? Tension for me is almost like a state of preparation, right? Like you're preparing yourself, right? Like you tense up before you get slapped. Sorry, my current fractal, right? There's a tensing that happens, right? In that way, there is sometimes a tensing that happens in me towards my future or towards my present moment, right? Tensing in a way that like I feel like I'm preparing to get hit. Maybe it's like shame of my future self looking back at my current moment or something like that. I don't know. And in that way, anxiety is kind of like just that base state of almost feeling scared, right? Anxiety is almost like attached to fear, where tension is attached to preparation, or like there's another word that I'm looking for. Donkey is speaking as well. Yeah, like flinching. Tension can be like a flinch. You know. And then sometimes you tense, like you wait for something bad to happen, you wait for this thing, right? For me, as an example today, it's I feel tense that I don't have an electric car. And that tension manifests as cringe, as like feeling shame for putting fuel in the vehicle, and then thinking about the fact that every single time I start it, it makes and puts toxic gases in the air that we're all breathing. You know, like I think about that. I have to think about that, and that causes me tension. It doesn't cause me anxiety, right? I'm not anxious about it because I understand what's happening. It's not anxiety, it's tension. It's like and how do I relieve that tension? And again, I'm the one that caused that tension in the first place by thinking about it. So I need to think about it more to not get tension anymore. Yes. This is how it works. That's not how it works, Mal. Please tell me, teach me. I need help. I drive a gas guzzling pickup, but I also know that I make up for it with a bunch of other ways. There aren't any consumer-friendly price point, heavy-duty vehicles available. Yeah, I don't know about like price points and what consumer-friendly as a price point is, but it's gonna change slowly but surely, right? I feel like you American friends kind of have your government working against you, adding 100% tariffs to the Chinese-made EVs, which is a scam. Not the Chinese-made EVs, your government. I'm gonna put down the flames. Sit down, flames. So that was the orange part of the scarf. So I'm gonna dull it down a little bit. Not that it matters. I'm pretty sure I'm good at both. Good at tension and anxiety. Nice. We can get good at talking ourselves out of it as well. Don't beat yourself up about that gas vehicle. There There aren't ready. They aren't ready. There aren't ready available options to make it easier for you yet. Capitalism, get that down. Yeah. We made electric vehicles first. Do you know that? That's one of my kind of like points of tension, right? It causes me kind of tension. It's like, uh, why? Why didn't we just develop that technology? Imagine if we spent the last 120 years developing EVs instead of combustion vehicles. We would have been, every single one of us would have been in the equivalent of like a Jetsons vehicle. Legit. Legit. And I'm not joking. I'm pretty sure about that. Hey Google, can you show me the first ever made car? I don't, yeah, that I think is one of them. The world's first car. I think that's one of them. And that thing works with an electric drivetrain. And the thing that melts my brain is the fact that they put modern batteries in those vehicles and they still drive. Right? Can you think for a second that any combustion vehicle from 120 years ago, if you put fuel in it, it will just start moving again? No way. That little Burby is back. You can really come and sit on your eggies. You really can. Should I move? I'll move for you, okay? I'll move. I'm gonna have to stand up to move. Well, I feel super bad because I can feel you looking at me. And I will not harm you, I promise. But I think it's gonna be hard for you to believe me. So I'm just gonna create some space so you can get to your babies. Okay? I think the Burby gave me a second to move. I'm gonna take this stuff first. Okay, that Burby is seeing me leave. Standing on the tree right now. Be right back. You can look at the cool rocks. Rocks and roots. There we go. Yeah, this is nice. This is very nice. I like this. This feels very natural. Very nature. Very natuurlijk. Alright, I'm gonna bring myself back to it. What were we talking about? Tension. Combustion vehicles? Electric vehicles being the first cars we had. Yeah, how about that? Maybe you already know that. We have talked about it a few times before. Why is this? Oh, my things are loading for more than 1 second. There we go. This time it worked instantaneously. We have a hybrid. We could neither get nor afford a fully electric vehicle. Been thinking about getting an e-bike. That could be a great way, you know, as like a last mile kind of transport system as well.
Ooh, garbage luddy da, Mr. Frenchman. What do you call it, Mo? We caught the car hole. I think tension can be a subset of anxiety, or it can be situation specific. Tension arises during a situation. Anxiety just fucking is. That's beautifully said. Anxiety just arises, even if there's no reason technically for it to arise. Where tension is usually arising for a reason. Right? Very few times do you feel tense about something that is nothing. You're usually tense about something. I tucked the grass into the rocks like you would tuck your hair behind your ear. You wanna see? Oh, there. Mm. Right. What I'm talking about. I love history. You do know what you're talking about, LA. To be fair, I see videos all the time of Chinese EVs catching fire in the middle of the road because the regulation on building them is so lax. Uh, to be fair, you are watching propaganda. I'm sorry to say it as directly as I did, but that is also me being fair. You are literally watching propaganda. Oh, I see. I piece of my tripod is a little bit busted. I just noticed. Because if you really had to actively look out and seek out internal combustion vehicle fires, you would literally have more content to watch than you had time in the day for, right? And that has been a thing going on for a long time. Internal combustion engines, the rate of fires are significantly higher than EVs. Significantly, are a lot higher. And it's not about lax, lax regulations. What's the word you said? It's about internal combustions being literal explosion-driven devices with an extremely flammable fuel. We're not gonna import more Chinese shit. Well, my country didn't get that memo, and I'm happy about that. Huzzah! Huzzah! Thank you, Chinese people, for putting in the work and effort so that I don't have to feel tense about those kind of things. Thank you. Like, actually, thank you. Certainly not their cars. Detroit is constantly on the brink of war with itself. A decision like that would seal its fate and turn it into a wasteland. The Chinese are not responsible for Detroit becoming a wasteland, Sam. I feel like we both know that. We both do know that. The reason our cities are becoming wastelands is because of capitalism, not because of China. Definitely not because of China. In fact, our country, over the last 20 years, has been made better almost exclusively. No, not exclusively. Maybe like 75% of the things that have gotten better in our country has been in thanks to China. Right? And you would be surprised how many things in your life is better that you just take for granted. You don't think about it. That is better because of China as well. Huzzah. Huzzah, Chinese people. Huzzah. Huzzah, bless you more. The cheapest full-size new pickup truck, gasoline truck is $37,000. There currently isn't even an electric full-size option under $62,000. I could never afford a $62,000 vehicle. Yeah. Right now in South Africa, I can buy a Volvo EX30 for $45,000. For $47,000. Like the nice one. I can get the nice one for $47,000. Right? And that's a brand new car. And a very nice one at that as well. The cars that are coming out, like the more entry level ones, you can get for like $15,000 to $17,000. That's like the kind of car that I would, look at. But they're also not available right now here. They are available in China, and our country is starting to at least make plans, where the American market's plan is to just add 100% import taxes, which is a bad plan. It's very bad. It's not gonna work, unfortunately. Right, something else is gonna have to change, not that part. So exactly, we need a government that focuses on making the US the premier creator and builder of electric vehicles. It's a little bit late again, right? Like all of these other companies just kind of they invested all of their labor costs into China, who as a result had a direct incentive to improve their production and manufacturing, which means that as a result they have become the global leaders in production and manufacturing. And if you're making a car, guess what? Number one thing you're doing is production and manufacturing. That's how you make cars, right? And they're the best at that. They're the best at production and manufacturing of batteries and the electric vehicles that go on top of them as well, right? Like they are on par with all of your German-made, like fancy cars, your Mercedeses, your BMWs, your Volkswagens. They're as nice. They're really as nice, right? And they're cheaper. And that's literally what capitalism is, technically as well, right? It's a free market. And your country is breaking the rules of that free market, right? Like all of the reason America and China are so fucking tense is because America has been investing in China all this time, and now, doesn't really want to come to terms with that. Chinese auto workers make like $3 an hour. So they make like $30 a day, which is like 600 rand a day, which is like, let's say they work only 21 days, 12 to 17,000 rand a month. So they're making on average about 3 times the amount I make a month, right? Pouring my heart and soul out to do something. They make 3 times the amount I make to make electric vehicles, right? And I lived in China. Guess what? When you earn 15 grand a month, you're living like a king in China. You're living really well because food is not that expensive. Your rent is expensive. Depending on where you live, your rent is pretty expensive. But it's not going to be that full 15 grand. So you would still have a better quality of life than most South Africans have right now. So, yeah, again, different places cost different monies. Do you know what the minimum wage in South Africa is? Mojo. I don't know if you know. No, it's pretty shocking. Hey Google, what is South Africa's minimum wage? South Africa's minimum wage is 27 rand per hour. So that is less than $1.50. Significantly less than $1. It's like $1.25. That is our South African minimum wage. So yeah. People would literally like stand in line. Millions of South Africans would stand in line to earn $3 an hour if they can right now. So it's not a matter of, at least for me, like exploitation anymore. For me, it's a matter of superiority of, technology. Like the amount of money they've invested in making things happen. And all of our other governments just not doing that. Spending absurd amount of money on military, right? So we can bomb other people. instead of spending that money on getting good at making EVs, right? If your country over the last few decades spent the money they spent bombing people on EV manufacturing and space, your country would literally be, global superpower too. But no, we bomb people instead. Even though China does have a history of being a little bit iffy with war, right? Especially with the whole Taiwan thing, uh, they're not spending the same amount of money the U.S. is on actively warmongering. So it's like that's the big thing, right? Like all of that stuff does account for the amount you pay for things as well. Oh, can't leave. Texas can't leave the U.S. rabbit. What else you got? You need a U.S. that doesn't have Texas in it. I mean, Texas is literally right now the leader in America of deploying renewable resources as well, which I'm kind of stoked about. Huzzah, Texas! Good for you. They're seeing the writing on the wall, which makes me happy. The rest of the states still seem to be lagging behind a little bit. Can we please kick out Indiana when we kick out Texas? Isn't that where Chauvin lives? Keep Indiana. Indiana is free to leave or be tossed out at our leisure. We're stuck with Texas, unfortunately. Indiana is so pretty, though. From what I've seen, you'll see it's gorgeous. Maybe just export the residents to Texas. The new lake shape would make it look like it's taking a piss on the salt. Do an exchange with Austin. I gotta go and do work stuff. Enjoy, everybody. Love to you, Nan. Rabbit, what part of Indiana would have you been to that is pretty? I'm not talking about the parts that touch Kentucky. Melt, in case you were talking about it, don't move the nest. No, 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 no. The nest will definitely not be moved. Who says the mom won't find it, even if you move it in a short distance? Yeah. No, I will definitely not move the nest. I just didn't know the nest had eggs in it. We found that out together. So that mommy was like looking at me sitting close to her nest and was like, oh! And then I could see her like go for a fly to like ease her tensions probably, and then comes back and like looks at me and is like, oh! And then flies away again. So the second time I saw her come back, I was like, okay, let me just move so that she can get to her little eggs. Oh, no. Never mind, Doc. I was thinking about Idaho, specifically Sandpoint. I don't think I've been to Indiana. How embarrassing. This whole time? Dude, every product I've ever touched from China has been a subpar building standard. Ain't no chance I'm touching something I trust with my family's safety. Like, I'm just running through both of our heads of all of the things that we've touched. Right? And again, if you paid the bare minimum for the Chinese product you bought, that's not the fault of the Chinese. That's the fault of you for not wanting to pay for the product, right? Pay a premium for the product that you want. You can get good products from China as well. In fact, China is starting to gear up and position themselves as a luxury item manufacturer from, these moments on forward. Like that, like literally that's one of the, things they had like as a whole countrywide, hey, bratanas, let's sit down, let's talk about this, let's stop making cheap shit and let's start making the good shit. That's me paraphrasing. But that's basically the incentive, right? That's what they are pushing towards. And the amount of cooperation, the amount of collective human effort, it makes me very happy. They're installing so much solar as well. Yes, they're dwarfing. They're like absolutely dwarfing the rest of the world in the amount of solar they're installing. Hey Google, how much solar did China install this year alone? Oh, no. Man, they're not showing me this year. China has bolstered the solar generation. Okay, yeah. A total of 102 gigawatt hours of new solar installations between January and June So that's again not accounting for a few months. 102 gigawatt hours. To give you an idea, our entire country uses about 2,800 megawatt hours. So about 28 gigawatt hours. Our entire country. They installed roughly 4 times the amount of energy in renewables that our country uses in the last 6 months alone. That's so wild. That genuinely makes me happy. Makes me so happy. We don't have to burn that much amount of coal, that much amount of gasoline, of, natural gases. Yes, that's insane. That's so much energy. Okay, I'm coming back. And again, right? Like all of those PVs, all of those solar panels are also Chinese made, and they also last 25 years. They're not subpar quality. Like this thing is made in China. This thing is not subpar quality. That thing is made in China. It's not subpar quality. These pluckies. I had sandals that I paid 100 rand for. $5, right? I paid $5 for those sandals. They would literally disintegrate off of my feet within a month, max 2 months, right? And I went through 4 pairs of those sandals, those $5 sandals, last year alone, because I paid $5 for them. Then, start of this year, this pair of sandals costed $45, $40, and it's still working, right? There's no tears. Is there a tear? No, it's just a line. It's another line. There's no tears in it. It's still functioning as it's supposed to, right? This thing's also made in China. So who do I blame? Do I blame China for my sandal falling apart, or do I blame myself for not paying more than $5 for a sandal? And this is an American product, right? There's no equivalent of a Chinese product like this right now. So I'm more than happy to pay for a good product if it's American made. But there are not that many of them anymore, unfortunately. I don't know if there's any other American product that I really desire. It's Dyson, but Dyson is also mostly made in China, right? There might be like your Apple products too. They're made in China. They're just designed in America. Yeah. Literally had a brewery filled with Chinese brewery equipment. Yeah, dude. How long ago was this? Let's do like a Dyson is British. Thank you, Fit. How long ago was this? Right, because time matters a lot, especially so when it comes to manufacturing. Because the more you do something, the better you get at it. And they do more all the time. A lot more. 9 years. 9 years ago, bro. Yes. Like, auto manufacturers come out with a new vehicle every single year. Is it every single year? Might be every 2 years these days. Right? With body changes and suspension upgrades and efficiency improvements and gearbox changes, etc., bro. Like, brewery equipment in comparison is very simple. Like, very, very, very simple. But I might be speaking under naivete here. For me, the manufacturing of vessels, maybe large vessels and tubes, maybe high pressure tubes and gauges, is significantly easier than manufacturing vehicles. Lois, I just went looking. The SPLC had an interesting article on Nazi activity in that part of Idaho that may explain your experiences. That could be a big yikes. Tens of thousands of dollars to be exact. All a waste of building materials. The brewery equipment did something. Someone say Indiana. Howdy folks, there she is. Javon, love to you. Oh, I know. Sandpoint, not. It's such a shame. They're taking over such a beautiful place. Your country is breaking the rules of that free market. We're fucking pirates. I don't know how many more times I need to say it. We don't respect anybody's rules, not even not even our own. Yeah, but like as a result of that, like you've probably heard these words before, and some people use it as a means of fear mongering. I see it as just a natural progression of things. A new world order. There is actively a new world order arising. And that new world order is arising because America is acting like a pirate, right? In that way. The amount of war, the amount of exploitation, the amount of market manipulation, the amount of threats, of sanctions, the amount of economy staking with petrodollar, like it's pretty yikes. It's pretty yikes. And again, now as we like again, I am a 20 something year old that has access to the internet, and as a result of that, I have access to a lot of information. But I'm not the only one, right? For the last 100 years prior to the internet, things were going as they were going. Manipulation was manipulating, warmongering was warmongering, business as usual. And now, with the internet, we have been given eyes to see what is happening in a way that we've never been able to before. And with like the advent of stuff like cryptocurrency as well, we'll be given even more eyes, right? Eyes as nodes on a blockchain, to say it in so many ways. And it's going to incentivize. You can use the word force if you want to, but it's going to incentivize us to be good people. Like fuck, it's really not that groundbreaking. Stop murdering people and making money off it. Like stop. Actually stop that. You should not be allowed to do that. Oh fucking hell, so much money as well. That's the thing, right? If it was just like some money, maybe I'd be able to let it slide. But it's the numbers. It's sheer numbers. Sam, you're so right. The United States needed to use battleships to get ready to go to Midway in World War II. They said it would take like 60 days. The United States, properly motivated, did it in 17 days. While on the way to Midway, we were motivated. We could start an electric car industry overnight to make the best in under 5 years. Yeah, you would have to like divert all of the money you spend on the military to your EV industry, which I'm super like pro for. Do that, please. But for some reason, that's not happening, right? And like I get the American pride thing, but I don't think I don't think it's healthy. I don't actually think it's healthy to have pride just in this idea of country good. Me, my country, mine good, so great. That thinking like that, I feel, is counterproductive, unfortunately, because it takes away the objectivity of what the fuck's happening, right? It causes a lot of tension. It causes so much tension. Low hourly wage equals low skills. Oh, is that so? Can't change that. You aren't getting a competent electrical engineer for $3 an hour. Yeah, you're gonna get it for less with robotics in 5 years. And again, robotics is manufacturing and production. So who do you think is going to instantly lead the world in humanoid robots as well, as soon as they become technologically feasible? Literally in an instance. China is gonna own that market too. And you can fight that. You can not want the Chinese robots in your home. But when a thing comes out that costs $5,000, that means you literally no longer have to do any house chores. No dishes have to be washed by you. No clothing has to be washed and folded. No floors have to be mopped. No things have to be dusted, right? Like your house just has this thing that maintains it for $5,000. people are gonna buy those things, whether they're Chinese or not. Right? That's kind of the reality of the situation. And it is gonna be a great deal of tension. And I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. literally wants to just like outright ban stuff like that as well. They might end up doing that. It's gonna be interesting times. We're living in such interesting times, and I do not say that as a curse to any of us. Again, all you have to do, and I believe this, is live from a place of love, right? Survive as well while you're doing that, because things will get better. All we really have to do right now is remain alive, despite the amount of tension that comes along with. And I know there's a lot of tension that comes along with it. The hard part is convincing the oil barons that it's time to move over to EV. They know, Sam. They know already. Exxon and like Shell is investing swaths of cash into batteries right now as well, at least. So they do know. California is the leading U.S. state in renewable energy currently, not Texas. You are wrong, Duck Dad. You are wrong, dude. I'm sorry to say these things, but again, I don't know if you haven't been like paying attention to the recent data. Hey Google, which state is currently the leading state in renewables? Trusting it's gonna give me, US statistics. Let's see. The top 10 renewables. No. This is giving me who are the daughters. Maybe it's a. There we go. Renewable energy generation, and this is 2022's statistics, right? So this is 2 years behind the actual numbers, and there we go. Number one on the list of renewables is Texas. You are wrong. You are Duck Dad. But you are. Literally, here it is. Renewable generation, Texas, with 525 terawatt hours in a landslide, right? Closest is Florida, then Pennsylvania, and only then California. Like, why are you arguing with me about this stuff, bro? Like, I am obsessed. I am literally, like, actually obsessed with this stuff. I cannot stop paying attention to it, because I am, like most of people in my generation, literally shit scared of not having a future, right? And the only thing that is going to give us a future is transitioning to a world of renewables. And again, I was huzzahing Texas because they're the leaders in your country for that right now. And that is not me pulling something out my ass. That is data that I know. That I literally know that because it has to be reported. Why are you arguing with me, dude? Come on, bro. Like, this is not an arguing stream. This is an uplifting, right? Reducing the amount of tensions we have. Oh no, the future bad? No, actually, look, even Texas has more renewables than any other state. I think Texas technically has more renewables alone than the 4 states below it combined. That's the numbers, right? So it's like a landslide. It's not even close, even. Oh, no. Hi, folks. Hope y'all are having a delightful Friday. Much love from Ireland. Sending you blessings back that way, too. You guys see this. Another intense conversation. They're a troll. Oh, again, like, for me, it doesn't even register. Like, it doesn't even blip on my conscious waves. Like, it's just like, I don't mind. Maybe I should mind, but I don't. About the I like pie thing. If you buy a new Chinese brew house, you will have the same problem, and it was the leading manufacturer. Like, again, I feel like you're saying this without having actually done it, and as a result, you do not have the proof to say what you're saying. Right? Because, like, I know, like, for instance, people that I watch on YouTube have started like candy companies that they started by buying Chinese equipment. Right? And again, making pieces of candy is harder, at least in my mind, logistically, than brewing something. Like, again, when it comes to the machinery making, I feel like the actual brewing process has a lot of expertise and technical skill involved. I think the issue might be that foreign companies manufacturing in China are held to that foreign company standards, but anything made in China by Chinese companies is only held to the standards. To the standards. To their standards, maybe. For the uninitiated, sanitary welds shouldn't rust. Had to pay $200 per hour to get them fixed by a competent welder. So think of how much contamination Chinese people are getting from food in tanks. Okay. Now I have more things to be tense about. How can I get myself out of tension? Knowing that Chinese people on average live longer than any other population. Knowing that when I was in China, I had access to healthcare. I went to go and get x-rays to let me know that my wisdom tooth was pushing up against my jaw. And I got medication for something like $4. Being uninsured, being a foreigner in a strange country, it cost me $4 to have x-rays done, to see a doctor, to have x-rays done, and to get pain medication. Right? So, propaganda. China wasn't the best experience for me, not because of the actual China itself, right? Was more of a, again, being a low-income earner in a very, very big country as well. For dude, you were wrong. The electronic controls are more important than the tanks. But if we are talking about the tanks, they're sanitary, well trusted. Tell me welding has changed in 9 years. I mean, probably hasn't changed much. But I wouldn't, like, hey Google, has welding changed in the last 9 years? Welding technology improved drastically over the last 50 years due to the use of robots and improvements in welding equipment. So it seems yes. In fact, welding has improved. But that doesn't really surprise me. Because again, it is like a robotics thing. The arms, the gases you use, the filaments you feed in, the quality of those filaments you feed in, the electricity you put through your arc distances, like all of that stuff can be refined, and you can get better at that in 9 years time, like significantly better, I think. No thing that West Taiwan can do that will make me overlook their human right violations. West Taiwan, I'm stealing that. Sounds like China is going to own the market on unemployed people if the robots are doing everything. And we all know how much China cares about its citizens. From what I've seen, China cares more about its citizens than it cares about the individual. You know, and you can take that as you will. I feel like American culture very much has the individual as like the pinnacle, right? The forefront, like, oh, me. where Chinese culture very much has the collective at the forefront, like us, right? What is going to be the collective good for all of us? And then tries to apply that as much as possible with a population of 1.3 billion people. And I feel like that's also something we don't take into consideration. There's a lot of people there. Man, Father Mobile, man, there's so much. And their society is functioning. Their society is thriving, in fact. They had like a whole thing with property crashing, because they did incentivize all of their people to invest in property first. And then there was like a Ponzi scheme thing happening. But again, that is human greed. Literally human greed. Like manipulating capitalism. Every single time. Sounds like China's going to 2 guys measuring their Google renewables. I'll show you behind the bike shed. I see you did delete your message about just Googling it and telling me that I am wrong, right? But you're unwilling to admit that you were wrong, Dr. Can we take a moment to acknowledge that at least? You are absolutely insane if you're telling me making candy is harder than brewing equipment. I can't even have an honest conversation. And again, right? Like, for me, from an engineering perspective, when I think about the processes I would have to engineer to build a machine that can make candy, as opposed to a machine that can make beer. Maybe again it's a scale thing that I'm missing, but it is significantly harder from a technical engineering perspective to make candy than it is to make beer. And I did acknowledge literally as I said that there is a lot more complexity and process in the processes things have to go through, right? And if you fuck that process up, all of your batch is gone, where candy might not have that. But I was talking about the actual machinery, right? Like the part that China is responsible for, right? And they make good things, even for candy manufacturing companies. Like, and again, look, I don't know if you saw the new Xiaomi video. It is insane what they're doing right now. Like, it is absolutely bonkers. And it's basically alien, like they're so far ahead of the rest of humanity. It's insane. There is no way America can catch up with that level of progress, unfortunately, right? They're trying, but the way they're trying is by literally paying people to just come and set up shop in your country, right? Like, you're not gonna do it yourself. For automation standpoint alone, not counting heating and cooling pumps and chillers, dude, it's so disingenuous. Bro, what am I wasn't trying to be disingenuous. Why are you so fucking riled up? Why are you so tense? I guess it explains, you did start today's stream topic by your masseuse telling you you're the most tense person they've ever touched. Yeah, think it's coming through right now a little bit, dude. Man looks for meaning in nature, a classic. Enjoy, Duck. Mojo. I accidentally took a joint philosophy science class in college, and at one point the science part was talking about population graphs. We went over a bunch, then zoned in on Asia. The graphs from Asia showed a massive population drop sometimes in the next 20 to 30 years. It was a sharp fucking drop. Yep. The one-child rule was not good for the country. Big surprise. But also something had to be done, and we will, in our lifetimes, see a population collapse. In other words, we'll have less people on the planet. Year after year, not more. And we're going to have to figure something out. And I believe longevity is going to be one of those things. Figuring out. We're going to become more valuable as an individual again, because there will be quite literally less of us. And China's going to play a big role in that future. And China's going to play a big role in making that future a good one. America does very little for my country, Dr. Maybe that's something that can be said as well, right? From a purely I am a South African perspective. Which countries are good? China, in that pissing contest, unfortunately, is good by a landslide in comparison to what America is doing. Right? Like in so many ways. In their healthcare, in their application of military, in their infrastructure, in their city development and upkeep, in their quality of life improvements over the last 60 years, in their deployment of renewable energies, in their manufacturing of high novelty, high value technologies. Right? And all those things, because South Africa is a partner with China, will be accessible to the people of my country, right? Will literally improve the quality of life of people in my country, people all over Africa, people all over the world. And it is crazy to me how much tension is being created around that understanding, right? Because again, if China is making other people's lives better, then suddenly that market opportunity goes away from the capitalist perspective. Wait a second. No, we can't let them improve people's lives because then I can't profit off of people suffering. No, quick, stop them. Add 100% tariffs. Quickly. Quickly. Before our people, get wise to the fact that we're manipulating them. Mojo. I think I've read that one. The graphs from China showed a massive drop. It's true again. Accidentally. Did you trip and fall into college, Sam? Yeah, I was looking for a philosophy course on bullshit taught by Dennis Coden and got the numbers mixed up. That does sound like a cool class. I think I could teach a class on bullshit. Me too, apparently. I was quite confused when the course I selected came with a non-optional psych course. But I didn't question it until I was in Dennis' room with hippies talking about our environmental impact. I sat there the first day and went, fuck me. Like in a bad way, like in a, this is not my vibe. Yeah. Checks out. Life and tension. I don't know if anyone's gonna watch one of the many Friday the 13th movies for the day. It is Friday the 13th. I have not seen one of the Friday the 13th movies. So, I don't know if today will be the day. Probably not. But it does kind of explain, some of the energies we've experienced, at least a little bit. I'm gonna go and get my cards, and then I'm gonna come and sit down with you friends again. I'm gonna give you more wall view. More wall, less house. Yes, the granola hippies were in there whining about, how can I justify taking hot showers? Like, I don't trip myself out about being like, I can't justify taking hot showers from an energy perspective as I feel bad for the planet. I justify not taking hot showers because I can't afford to. Afford is relative, right? But every hot shower that I don't take, I save between 3 and 4 kilowatt hours of energy. Because putting enough energy in the water heater for it to be hot, like for a hot shower, takes about 3 to 4 kilowatts. And a kilowatt where we live is 4 rand something. So 16 rand. So quite literally, if I just wanted to take a hot shower every single day, it would cost me $25 extra, between $25 and $30 extra a month, right? And that is a non-insignificant amount of money. Do not have to spend So I sympathize with, I can't justify taking hot showers, and I could not believe the level of internalized guilt that actually existed. It's not so much internalized guilt, it's more just really acknowledging your responsibility. I feel, like the granola hippies, as you have aptly called us. Notice the us I say. Uh, have, unfortunately, by nature of their upbringing or nature of their experimentation with their own psyches, uh, come to the realization that we are, in fact, responsible. Whether we like to believe that or not, we are, right? And it's not so much a matter of you are going to save the world by driving an EV, right? Like, I know that about myself. Me driving an EV isn't suddenly going to be like, you know, huzzah! Everybody's going to celebrate me in the future for having saved the world with my EV driving. But it is very much a perspective of pride, right? And I feel like maybe us granola hippies are unwilling to admit that as well. But from a perspective of looking back at our lives, there is a certain sense of pride that we embody with the decisions that we've made. And in that way, making decisions where we really consider our own responsibility and try to actively make the best of this great responsibility we have allows us to feel good, right? Allows us to feel prideful, allows us that sense of, I'm a good person because I'm trying to do these good things. Are they helping really in the grand scheme of things? Who knows? Who knows? Are you trying to be a better person, more considerate of our planet, more considerate of our resources? Yes? Boom. You're doing that. That's literally what you're doing. It can't be disputed, and you can feel a certain way about doing that stuff. That does not surprise me, Melt. You mentioned how you hate horror. Yeah. I don't really do that to myself. But I am very sensitive to stuff like that as well. Like, for me, things are very real. I haven't seen any Friday 13th movie either. If only I have time to watch one. Which one should it be? That is a good question to ask, Maybe there's a better one amongst them. It almost seems attention seeking to me, trying to make the world suffering your entire problem. I hope that I gave you some context, right? With the whole savior complex and how technically it's more pride. And you can think of it like a doubling up of pride, of like how you in the future would also like to be able to boast and be like, oh, yeah, we did save the climate, and I contributed. Right? Being able to say stuff like that. People want that. Selfishly. Egotistically. Maybe from a being a bad person perspective, even. What's the other word you use? Narcissistically. No. Attention seeking. That one works as well. Does that make sense to anyone? No. You're making sense. I'm resonating with you. I think you're underestimating internalized guilt. I think it's just a big spectrum issue. We all feel a lot of guilt, right? And that guilt causes a lot of tension whenever we want to do anything, pretty much. I have an understanding of that mechanic through the inundation of Catholicism in this country, but I didn't know that proclivity extended to others in this extreme. I have known a couple of attention-seeking ones, but many, many more who were genuinely earnest. Yeah. Again, right? Like, I feel even if you might interpret it as attention seeking, on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't really manifest as something worthy of attention, right? It's just a thing you do. It's just a thing you do. Realistically, hot showers are not that good for our skins, So maybe in the future, we'll take less hot showers. Maybe we won't have to again. But we could end up saving energy that way as well. Could be one thing to do. There's a big beetle eating the wood, and he makes bunches of sounds. Mm. Rabbit, I would recommend Friday the 13th, the final chapter, because it has both Corey Feldman and Crispy Glover in it. All the Friday the 13th movie is essentially the same format, so you don't need backstory. That does help. So, no, Sam, it makes sense. We are a part of this world, and so we need to take responsibility for our influence on it. But at the same time, be grounded on what exactly we have influence on. Abstaining from a hot shower isn't going to save the world. And if you're doing something you feel good about, then you don't have to seek the approval of others. Yes. Thank you, Joe. Yes. That's so beautifully what I was trying to say, right? Like it's just something you do. You do it and you feel good about that. For you. It's not like you don't have to like celebrate about it like when you recycle or something, right? You're not expecting a huzzah and people to start clapping hands for you, you know, like it's just like, oh yes, I'm doing this good thing. Good for me and for the planet. Good for us. Me and planet hugs each other. It's the small things. Small things do make big differences, you know, because as billions of human beings, our actions compound. That's the big thing. It's the compound interest that we're all applying right now. I so love your balanced perspective, Joe. I hope you find lots of reasons to speak up. In Core Week coming up, that is gonna be a fractal. I'm behind in this book. It's not easy read, but it has a lot of good stuff. What is Core Week? I believe that Sam and Jovan are both attending a 200-hour yoga certification, and I believe they're gonna be doing core for a week as a part of their certification. That's what I'm thinking, at least. I might be misinterpreting. It's 50 hours of yoga boot camp, LA. Yeah. One of the 50-hour slots. 50 hours of yoga boot camp. They're going to get so strong. They're gonna get so challenged. They're going to be shown what their bodies are capable of. It's gonna be an experience. I'm on chapter 5, I think. Would you benefit from it if we got on a call and read it to each other this weekend? Oh, that is kind of nice. I love it, but Vinyasa helped meet my chiropractor, Jeeves. Yeah. I'm sorry, Joe. I'm so sorry. My mind, wants to fight Vinyasa, and I was like, I'm joking, of course. Vinyasa can be a great practice as well. Love is true. Thank you for joining me. I'm gonna go get my card. I'm gonna see you now. In 1 second. Hey, baby. Hello. I don't know if the birds like when you talk to them. Maybe some do. But I always talk to the birdies and they usually fly away. No, it's not Vinyasa's fault. My posture is at fault. I'm sure you'll get stronger and learn better posture as you continue to grow, Jean. Alright, girly, DM me and we'll settle in on some time slots. It's not Vinyasa's fault. Are you sure though? Yeah, Vinyasa can be pretty intense. Right? Like, I don't do a lot of Vinyasa in my practice because of it. I found that style to be utterly incompatible with my continued existence. Like, it helps if you've eaten some mushrooms before you do vinyasa, because then it's almost like you have more space to really get into that moment. But just like bare knuckling it, there's a lot. I'm off to Equet to eat a homemade Cubano and drink a freezing cold beer while watching Jason Voorhees work out his childhood trauma on camp counselors. Have a great Friday, everyone. All my love. Bless you, Fit. Have a great night, dear friend. A good Friday. Yeah, it is Friday. Look at us. Thank you for joining me. I'm sorry if I caused tension. That was not my intention. I hope that I have allowed for relief as well on the other side of it. You are loved so much. If you haven't heard anybody say that to you today, it is true. Thank you for joining me, for loving me enough to be here right now, so that I can mirror that love back to you. Ooh, wow! Yes! Yes! Of course, as I'm like, oh, lovey-dovey, it goes love dove, the freedom of love. That red heart and that white soul. There's multiple hearts in there, but this is making me extra giddy. Yeah, that's nice. Might be Sam, it might be a little Vinyasa's fault. I wonder if I think, weirdly enough, Joe, I think I hurt myself a little bit as well in my vinyasa practice when I practiced during my certification. For me, it was like I tweaked my lower back a little bit, and I just had to yoga it out, kind of thing. Maybe when that happens, you're supposed to go to a chiropractor. I'm happy that you did, but it's almost like wait a second. The dove on the way to its stupid nest. Yeah. This is the way. One more time of me showing you, and then I'll read. Nest as in a stick on a brick. I have seen one of those nests. And in that way, pigeons are actually a cliff birds. They usually lay their eggs, in like little pockets on the rocks. So the sticks were always just to make sure the eggs don't roll off from the rocks. I didn't need to build nests. It's not the pigeon's fault. They're just living in urban environments. That Burby does have a nest, technically. You can go back on the video and see. It just added a bunch of little pieces of bark, and then maybe I'll show you again. I don't know if that Burby came back, but I'm gonna read. The freedom of love, universal love, and unity consciousness. I've seen eggs laying in nests of piles of screws and precariously perched on apartment window ledges in large cities. Nature has ways of making sure these birds don't become pests, and I appreciate it. Shame. Universal love and unity consciousness. Unity consciousness. How about sometimes? Some like the birds are us. We are the birds. There is no separation. There's a fly staring at me right now. You think I'm joking? Watch. I'm gonna have to zoom again. I don't know if... There it is. Look at that fly. He's just watching me. Rubbing his little hands together. Conniving. His conniving is planning something devious. Absolutely dubious. I think he's going to flabbergast me. I'm gonna stop. Unity consciousness, right? Distillated dodecahedron is associated with unity consciousness or Christ consciousness. Combined with golden spiral hearts, this card creates a matrix through which we can realize that when we live in integrity and with heart energy, there is true freedom. Our journey of evolution is our journey towards unity consciousness. Meditate with this image and feel into your connection to divine oneness and universal love. Visualize yourself as part of every particle of energy in creation. Sacred geometry affirms our oneness and provides us with a language to better understand our place in it all. Love is the key that unlocks this language and helps us more fully realize our divinity. Freedom is the force that offers us an opportunity to realize an expanded view of our humanness and our place in the cosmic order. Take this experience into your heart and see it as sprouting wings. See yourself flying on the wings of universal love and experience the freedom of knowing you are never separate but are truly an integral part of the divine order. An integral part of the divine order. The subreddit dedicated to stupid doveness is one of my favorites. I have been on that one as myself. Right. It is, down that rabbit hole that I learned about doves being cliff laying birds. Right. Get to understand their bad nest making skills as well. That was a nice card read. Universal love. Slowly but surely getting closer to unity. Slowly but surely getting closer and closer to unity. I'm gonna take these. I don't know if I'll be able to take my cushions right now. Yeah. What you, Barbie? Are you in there right now? Can't see. I'm gonna put my stuff away. Too close for comfort. Almost dropped some of my stuff. Show you what I'm looking at. Right. That's nice. Thank you, universe, for being so pretty. Is the Barbie there right now? No, not right now. I want to show you Joe as well. So this is the nest that inspired all of the comments about the dove nest. I don't know if that light's gonna help, but there's like a bunch of sticky stickies. I bring stick, and I bring more stick, and I bring more stick. And there's the actual nest. I still feel like that's nest. Or that's nest enough. It's a pretty wholesome nest. But I will not be moving that nest. It will stay right there. So when Mama Bird comes back, she can come and sit on her little eggies. I do think they're mostly like gonna be sitting on them at nighttime as well. Oh, so pretty. It's nice that we have these things. Birds whose instincts is to build a nest, but they fucking suck at it. We suck at other things that are our nature too. I feel like that Barbie didn't suck that much. I think maybe like poor choice of location, depending on who you ask. If you had to ask me, I would say great choice of location. There's all of these boxes and stuff.
just standing here, right? It's rarely moved. And then there is a little nook right here, right? Double shading or like shielding from above, feeling nice and safe. There's a roof above you. It keeps you out of those hectic winds because this place does get some pretty hectic winds. So yeah, Burby knows what's up. Burby's knows that good. It's time. Bye. Thank you, dear friends, for joining me again. Showing up for this day, for finding the time on a Friday. I hope you are going into your weekend untensed, feeling open to new experiences and knowing once again that you are loved, dear friend. I'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody. Till we do.